Hi there, and welcome to Spanish 101 at College of Western Idaho, our online Spanish class. This is something that I'm going to be doing this semester. I started a couple semesters ago, and it's been really effective so far, so hopefully it is this semester as well. And that's weekly videos that I post in the announcements. Now, these aren't going to be polished and well organized and super structured and edited and all of that. I was initially inspired to create these videos by watching some Facebook Live videos. And I realized that sometimes content can be helpful and can be important without being super polished. So these are my attempts to put up a video every week to connect with you as my students. And they're not going to be polished. I'm not going to re-record if I mess up. So they're not going to be the greatest quality necessarily. Today I happen to be recording in this fancy recording studio that we have on campus. But usually I'll be on my back deck or sitting in my car or at my desk. And just, as things come up that I think would be helpful to create a video about, I will do that and we'll post them in the announcements. So it may be something that I've noticed as I grade homework that seems to be especially problematic. It may be an upcoming assignment that I know students might need a little extra help with, or any number of different things. Or sometimes it'll just be to say, hey, don't forget I'm here. Let me know if you have questions. So for today, what I want to do is walk you through a few of my biggest tips for the class. As an online Spanish class, an online 4-credit class, there is a lot to figure out in this first week. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, I get it. I've been there, and I know that it's a lot to take in. So these videos usually will be about 5 to 7 minutes long. Today's might be a little bit longer because there's a lot that I want to get through. So let's see. I want to start in Blackboard. And I have it set to not record the entire screen just so that I can zoom in on things a little bit better so everything isn't so small. So hopefully I'll be able to show you what is pertinent for you to tell where I am. So this is our main landing page in our class in Blackboard. And I know that it's going to feel like a lot of the work that you're doing is in my Spanish lab. And the bulk of your time may be spent on my Spanish lab. But don't forget about Blackboard, because Blackboard is the part of the class that I've put together specifically for you, specifically for my classes. So I've curated videos from the internet that I think are specifically helpful for the exact content that we're studying. I include links and resources and all of that kind of stuff. And of course, I also have assignments that are just in Blackboard. They're not in my Spanish lab. So make sure that you are always starting your week out in Blackboard. The best place to start, of course, is the announcement. Every week, at least once a week, I will post an announcement. But there will always be a weekly announcement, a welcome to week 2, welcome to week 7, welcome to week 15, where I outline the important things for that week and I talk about some tips that might be helpful for you. So be sure that you always read the announcement. Every time you log in, every time that you sit down to work on the class, start with checking for any new announcements and reading those. And then, of course, like all classes, there's the faculty information tab. There you can find information on contacting me. There's the syllabus and schedule, which hopefully you've already reviewed and maybe printed off to keep in a binder. And then the button that you'll click on the most often probably is going to be the Assignments tab. So when you click into that, you'll see, I'm going to scoot over here, the Week 1 folder. As we get closer to Week 2, that one will become available and so on throughout the semester. So the way this course is set up is to walk you through. Some classes will be set up where you see all of the content when you click into a folder. And this is set up a little bit different, so you click through. And then also you can navigate and click on specifically what you want to. So this week we have a few introductory things that a lot of you have already done, the syllabus quiz, that info sheet that you filled out and uploaded, and then instructions for setting up my Spanish lab, which we're going to talk a little bit more about in a few minutes. And then we get into the content, and this is what you'll see most weeks will be vocabulary, estructuras, which is grammar, and the content for the week. So I want to point out a few things in those content areas. So first, when you click into one, I will include tutorials if there are tutorials that are part of the Pearson materials. And those are fairly dry, fairly straightforward. They're not super exciting, but they are very straightforward and helpful. And then I always include what pages you should be reading in the textbook. I recommend the e-text, but don't forget you do have access to the print textbook as well. If you take your course schedule or your registration confirmation or whatever paperwork you have, or your email access into the bookstore, you can pick up, it was already paid for when you paid for the class, you can pick up the print copy of the textbook of just those 5 chapters that we're covering this semester. So you don't have to go in and get your access code. The access code is already included in the information in course documents. You know what? I'm going to jump over that. I apologize for jumping around. But just to make sure that you know where it is, course documents, this instruction document here has everything that you need to get started in My Spanish Lab. Okay, so make sure that you do that if you haven't already. Okay, back to week 1. All right, so in each lesson, I'll have, if it's a vocabulary lesson, I'll have MP3 files. These you can download, save to your phone, and listen to while you're driving or doing dishes or whatever. Audio files can be really helpful, a really great way to supplement the work that you're doing when you're sitting down studying. It can be something that you can do on the go. And then I'll tell you which exercises or which range of exercises in My Spanish Lab correspond to this particular lesson. So the way you can do that is if you're feeling overwhelmed by everything there is to do and by looking at the weekly assignments and trying to do them all at once, instead maybe take it chunk by chunk. So come into this lesson, read the textbook, review the tutorials, download your audio, do those My Spanish Lab activities, and then go on to the next section. Okay, for different students, different kinds of workflow is going to work best for you, but start thinking about different options like that. Doing it one chunk at a time may be helpful. A lot of times I'll post videos, and these may be videos that I created or videos that I found on YouTube or other places on the internet that I think are specifically helpful for this particular lesson, like I already said. So use those videos, and this one doesn't have a video but does have the tutorial. And then last thing is the weekly quick write. Read this so that you understand how the quick writes will work. They shouldn't take you a lot of time, 5 minutes, but I do really strongly encourage you to complete them every week. And you will only get graded if you complete a certain number of them throughout the semester. Otherwise, you'll receive a 0 for those. So be sure to pay attention to those. So that's the most important stuff in Blackboard, just those weekly folders, working through those and using Blackboard as sort of the framework, your starting and ending point for the class, is really important. And I think that's the biggest thing there. Course documents, along with those registration instructions, has some other information for you as well, some helpful documents and links, the flashcards that go with each week's vocabulary or each unit's vocabulary. So I want to switch over now to My Spanish Lab. Let me switch to the student view. If you haven't already, the next time you log into My Spanish Lab, go through these settings, and it can really help prevent problems that you may run into if you get your browser all set up and all of the correct plugins installed and everything. And then you will have your course calendar over here. And the course calendar is really helpful to be able to see when you have things due. The midweek deadlines, these Wednesday assignments, are ungraded practice assignments, but they're very helpful. I do strongly recommend them. That's why I assign them. But if you have one that's a little bit glitchy, don't worry too much about it because it won't negatively impact your grade. Let's see here. I'm going to quickly show you the textbook up here in the right corner. Uh-oh. Because I'm the instructor. Okay. You should be able to access it there. For some reason, I cannot. That's weird. Okay. Well, if you have any trouble accessing the textbook, please let me know. It's apparently changed where I access it this semester. And I don't want to take the time right now to do that. But one thing I wanted to point out in the textbook is, oh, right, there it is. Sorry. I'm just crazy. Okay. The textbook. So it's an e-text. It's exactly identical to the print textbook if you go pick that one up. And, oh, look at, I did exactly what I told you not to do, which is I tried to access things without having all of the plugins set up. So I can't open the e-text. But the thing that I wanted to point out to you with the e-text is that there are audio files embedded into the e-text. That's the nice thing about using that as opposed to the print textbook, is that when you click on a vocabulary word in the vocab list, it will play the audio for that vocabulary word. So use the e-text, even if you prefer the print textbook. Don't forget about the things that the e-text has that might be particularly beneficial to you. So then the last thing I wanted to show you here in my Spanish lab is the assignment calendar, which is the same one that you'll see over on the right-hand side when you first log in. But I wanted to point out sorry, forget I just said that because I was back in instructor view. Like I said, unpolished videos. Okay, so this is what I wanted to show you. You don't have the course calendar tab there. You have an assignments tab. Click on the assignments tab. From that drop-down arrow, you can click the course calendar, which will be similar to what you already saw, or you can click the to-do list view. I really like the to-do list view because it brings up and it tells you all the things that are coming up. And it shows what you need to do to pass it. It shows if you've started it, how many attempts you've used. Over here, it shows you how many attempts you have remaining and when it's due. And then down here, click on Show More so that you make sure that you see all of the things that are coming up for this coming Sunday deadline. Of course, it's not loading, probably because I didn't update my browser correctly. But at any rate, that's that view I think is really helpful. Or of course, there's the course calendar view where you can click on it any particular day, and it'll show you the same thing. It'll show you what's coming up that's due that day. And again, you can click from right there and open up that assignment and complete it. So you're allowed 5 attempts on each assignment. After the 5th attempt, it will show you the correct answer. I set it up for 5 attempts because I don't want you to complete an assignment 25 times trying to get the right answer. If you've done it 3 or 4 times and you don't know what you're doing wrong, just shoot me a quick email. I'm happy to, especially if you can include a screenshot of your most recent attempt. Otherwise, you have to wait until I get at my computer and can pull it up. But if you send me a screenshot, then even if I'm, riding in the car with my husband, I'll pull it up and I'll send you a quick explanation if I can of what's going on and why you've missed those attempts. But if you do complete it several times and you're just not getting what's wrong with it, shoot me an email. Don't do it until you're frustrated. But also keep in mind that there's just the 5 attempts. After your 5th attempt, it will show you the correct answers. So you're not going to be endlessly banging your head against a wall with it. And that's the whole point is you want to be learning and improving, but I don't want you to get to the point of frustration. So that's why I limit it to 5 attempts, is to limit frustration with it. So let's see, I think that's it for week 1. I'm sorry that it's kind of scattered and I didn't have this computer all set up to be able to open everything. But make sure that you're using Blackboard and My Spanish Lab hand in hand and referring to both of them throughout the week as you complete your assignments. And again, I'm a real person. I'm here and ready to help. Shoot me an email, give me a call, whatever is best for you. And I'm ready to help you with anything that you have trouble with or questions about. So have a great rest of your first week, and I will see you all online.